What's up YouTube, Duel here from Zephyr War Games, and today we have a live duel directly from the anime. On the left you have myself playing Marincess with all the new support, and on the right we have Jamie playing Salamangreats. Now I do apologise for the time it takes me to kind of read these cards and get through these cards. The same for my opponent as well, is some of them are brand new. So we start off with the normal summon, and it lets us special summon a Marincess from the hand. So we've pretty much got full combo here. Now it does take me a little bit of time to pretty much evaluate them. Learning the combo, like I've only just put the deck together, so this was like a very nice casual kind of test for me, and I thought it'd be a good duel to watching Water Cyverse versus Fire Cyverse basically. They got some insanely good cards with Marincess Dive, which is basically a special summon from the deck or a revival from the grave, which is awesome. I already opened it, so we search out the Battle Ocean. And then activate the Dive. Now, when you have Battle Ocean active, Dive lets you special from the deck. When it is just activated without Battle Ocean, it lets you revive from the graveyard. So we summon out Blue Tang. Blue Tang's effect lets you Foolish Burial. So you send the Seahorse to the graveyard, and the Seahorse is the card that lets you special summon it from the hand to a zone a Link Monster points to, or I believe specifically a Marincess Link Monster points to. The Blue Slug, which is the first Link monster that was made, lets you add back a Marincess from the grave to the hand. So in theory, it can let you add back the one that you send, which is exactly what I did. You also have a very nice effect off the Blue Tang, which you may or may not resolve. Is it excavates the top 3 cards of your deck, and then you get to add a Marincess from among them and add it to your hand and put the rest back into the deck. So it can be useful. The main thing you're probably going to be doing it for, the main thing you do it for, is to kind of chain block your Blue Slug or chain block your Coral. So it gives you that ability to protect. Not Coral, sorry, the other Link one. So again, like I said, I'm still learning this deck. There are parts of the combo that lock you into waters. So at the moment, I've tried to keep it very basic and focus solely on the waters themselves. So we go link the 2 into Splash Mage. And then we are considering summoning back the Seahorse. Now, we probably could have got Shark and Toad out of the back of this, but we're ideally setting up the Splash Mage. And the best thing about the Splash Mage is the Coral Enemy that I've just summoned lets you revive it back from the grave. So it gives you the ability to get into a rank 4. It won't be made with the Crystal Heart, so it won't be unaffected by card effects. And then we're just looking at, I believe it's the brand new one, which is the Triangle. But the Triangle requires only Marincess monsters, so it's a bit of and I've also put the Splash Mage in the wrong zone, because I've got the level 1 in the graveyard that if you control 2 Marincess, it lets you summon itself back to a zone a Link Monster points to. So it's just like I said, it's a learning curve for me, specifically in the first game, just to try and get my head around all the new cards and exactly what the deck itself does. So by going into Crystal Heart, what this does, it will give me the ability to kind of, if I was to go into a Marincess Link 4, it protects it from card effects. Ideally, what you probably want to do is you probably want to put more into the more Link monsters into the graveyard, so that when you can trigger the field spell to equip the Link monsters every time you link someone, I believe, but you don't really gain much advantage off that because your Coral Enemy is already triggered. So unless you're going to do it again during the next turn to trigger the Coral Enemy to add back, there's no reason to keep doing it. So you might as well just do it on your last one. So we're linking to Coral Enemy. Coral is then going to target a level 2. Not a level 2, sorry, a water monster in the graveyard with 1500 or less. So we can bring back the Crystal Heart. And then what we're doing here is we're just going to link these into one of the big 4. Now, you've got 3 Link 4s. I think I was considering going into Triangle, but I already had the Trap in hand, I believe, or didn't I? Oh, no, I went to Triangle to get the Trap, because I was like, I'd rather have the Trap and a Link 4. So the Triangle lets you discard I believe it's just any card or a water monster, and then it lets you add a Marincess card, or a Marincess Trap specifically, actually, sorry. Now, that's both good and bad. Like, Wave is great, but it can be a bit of a pain. So we special summoned Seahorse from the hand because it was summoned back from the grave last time. It wasn't actually summoned via its own effect. And this is what the deck got with the new support, especially with the other new main deck monster that lets you banish a Marincess to summon itself, is it just gives you the ability to play through your normal summon and continue to make plays. So now the options are, or your best options will be Bubble Reef, which is a quick effect during, effect during a standby phase, either standby phase, banish a water monster to draw a card, which luckily in this one I do go for. And then the other one, we've got the brand new one that it lets you negate a spell or trap and then summon one of the monsters equipped to it. The only issue is if you don't have any monsters equipped to it, I don't believe it can actually trigger the effect to negate. Regardless, we're going to Bubble Reef. Off the back of that, we trigger the field spell, which lets me equip free from the graveyard. The one you want to be going for most times than not is the Coral Enemy, because when it goes from the field to the graveyard, it will let you add back a water monster from the grave. So if my Bubble Reef leaves the field, I've got a follow back to regain resource. Now he basically, my opponent draws and rushes into main phase, but we're going to do Bubble Reef in the standby phase, and then as you see, it gets completely Kaiju'd, which is the biggest weakness. The fact that Kaijus are in the main of a Salamangreat deck bemuses me, but it does make sense because there are a lot of decks that are running around with towers. So you've got Cyverse, you've got you got Agnistas, you've got your Marincess, and everything like that. You opened up both of them, which is crazy. So he gets two of those. Now, luckily, my draw, you'll see in a minute, was very, very spicy off of the Bubble Reef. Otherwise, this would probably be just access code OTK game. So yeah, now my opponent is going to try and play. We've got the Circle. Circle's now back at 3. We're going to Ash that. So my hand is currently 2 Ashes and 1 Wave. And the Wave has been completely turned off because I no longer control a Link 3 or higher Marincess. Normal summon Debug, and he was playing some really weird techs. Like he was just going for like access code Turbo. So we go into Update Jammer and was like, what is going on? And then because of the Kaiju, he's able to go Update Jammer into transcode target the Update Jammer, link the pair into access code effect to gain 3k. Now, I should have triggered a card in my hand now. I would have kept the Kaiju. And then it means he couldn't Kaiju me the next time. And I suppose if I didn't choose, like if he popped my field spell, I'd be in a little bit of trouble. He attempts to go to battle phase, I Nibiru. So that was the card that I drew off the Bubble Reef, which is broken. Saved me losing the game, which is very important. Because he kind of just went turbo for the access code to push the game, rather than considering a main deck Nibiru. So he main decks Kaijus, I main deck Nibiru. Let's go, see who's going to win this one. So yeah, shuffles up, cuts, and I've pretty much gained back so much advantage from my Marincess anyway. Like I've already got my starter back to the hand, and we all know that Blue Tang's a 1-card starter. So bar something like, even if an Ash Blossom on a Blue Tang is not the end of the world, because if you don't need to Foolish Barrel anything, then you're fine. So I believe I Foolish Barrel the level 5, which you can banish it and target one of your Marincess monsters, and I believe it gets like double attack, something like that. Again, I'm not too familiar with the exact names of the Marincess, so I do apologize for that. But it's more about just learning the combo lines. So Blue Tang into Blue Slug, chain link 1 Blue Slug to add back from the grave, because you're going to ideally add back the Seahorse, and then chain link 2 of your Blue Tang, because yes, the excavation's cool if you get something, but it's not the end of the world. It's not something you absolutely have to. So we reveal a Seahorse, a Cross Out, and a Sign Up Mining. We take the Seahorse. I mean, at the end of the day, whether you're going to use it or not, it's just free fodder. And then we add back the level 5 that I sent, because now I've got 2 monsters that I can special summon from my hand for free, which is exactly what I do. So special summon the Seahorse to the Blue Slug zone, go into the Coral Enemy. Coral Enemy is going to do the exact same thing. It's going to bring back, this time though, Splash Mage. And this is why the combo is just mad. So it brings back, I bring back the triangle. No, I think I swapped this over. As it's a learning experience, my opponent was, for both sides, my opponent was quite understanding. Because there was no reason to bring that back. I was just like, oh, Link 3, let's bring that back. So I bring back the Crystal Heart. I don't know why I'm trying to make it unaffected, but I suppose, like, worst case scenario, if my opponent wants to nib me, I'm good. Where's that Falco come from? So yeah, this is where it takes a bit of time for me to stolen thing. But we go into the link 4 that basically when you during damage step you can special summon one of the monsters linked to it. So I use Coral Enemy's effect to add back from the graveyard, and then I put the Bubble Reef into the main equip to it, so it means I can special summon the Bubble Reef, which is, you know, really, really cool. So I like this play. This is the alternative play to access code to try and help get you game, because you do lock yourself into waters. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to attempt to attack the token, and then effect to summon out the Bubble Reef, which is really good because in main phase 2 I can use Bubble Reef's effect to summon back the banished Marincess, and then that will allow me to get into Toad plays as well. Keep in mind that I've held back a lot of resource. So we do a decent amount of damage because the field spell gives all of my Marincess 200, and then my Marincess in the extra monster zone is pretty stacked because it also gets 600 for every equipped Marincess Link monster. So that's really kind of cool. We go to main phase 2. We use Coral Reef's effect. We send the second Seahorse to summon back the level 4. We trigger the level 4's effect to special summon down Blue Tang, and then we just go Shark and Toad just to kind of shore up what we've got. Like, it gives me, yes, it only gives me an Omni Negate, and without being able to kill, like, this is your aggressive Link 4 at the moment in the extra monster zone. Your Bubble Reef is defensive. I'll go for Kragan. Ooh. Actually, Kragan's really funny in the Salamangreat matchup because most of their monsters require fire monsters. So by making Kragan, they need to normal summon a monster that is stronger than 1500 to then try and kill it. And then the Kragan can just pop it anyway. So that's kind of cool. So we're just going over the Kragan now, confirming that it turns everything on the field into waters. And then obviously it has the effect without even needing to detach, which is mad, to just pop a card. In the end phase, the Bubble Reef re-equips itself. So my extra monster zone is pretty stacked. He pretty much scoops it up from there. He had a Roar and a Falco, I believe. So we move on to game 2. My opponent is now going to go first. Starts off by normal summoning Spinny, which is something you never really want to see in a Salamangreat deck. So I'm assuming he might have bricked a little bit. Oh, he's opened up the Sanctuary. Is he opened up the Sanctuary? Yeah, he opened up the Sanctuary. So he opened up Gazelle, which is completely fine. So he triggers Gazelle's effect. Oh no, he didn't open up Sanctuary. Still gets Gazelle's effect, which is a nice Foolish Barrel for our Roar. Do the Roar, daddy. I don't know if the Roar was the best thing. Maybe I would have gone with Rage, just because that 2-for-1 kind of pop is probably better than the Omni Negate. But again, the benefit I've got on this one is with all the new Marincess cards, not only are they new to me, but they're new to my opponent as well. So this is just a learning experience, like picking the Salad deck back up in order to kind of learn all of the updates, and Circle coming back, and Mirage Stalio, and you name it. Not that Mirage Stalio coming back has really changed, like coming back to free has really changed anything. You pretty much still just only really need the one. Yeah, so my hand is not great. I'm currently playing the Toad package. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. I feel that I would probably rather play Silent Angler, not Silent Angler. I think it's like Silent Nettle, the one that's just a level 4 water, and if you control water monsters, you can special summon it. Because rather than going down the Toad routes, yes, they're nice Foolish Burials, which is really cool. But and they do let you play through a lot because you can bounce it back and you can Foolish Burial again and go and go and go and go. At least with the level 4s, it can still get me to the same out goal. Like, I'm still trying to go for Toad, or I'm still going to try and go for Shark into Toad. So yeah. It then summons down the Jag, go into Sunlight Wolf to add back the Roar, and then we're setting one. Like, I bet he's lucky I'm not playing Mech Knights. That's like a golden column. And I top deck a Ronin. So I only play one Ronin and one dupe, and I've got both of them in my hand, which is, it sucks, but they are both very easy discard fodder for 2 Silent Miners that I have in my hand. And I believe I've opened up the wave as well. And it's like, bro, I only play one trap in the deck, and it's one wave, and I've opened it up both times. So we send the Dupe Frog, we add the brand new one, which basically lets you banish your Marincess and summon itself down. And this is what, because I've also opened up Blue Tang. MBT, as it's quite well nicknamed. So I get to normal summon this, and I was like, no effect. And then I was actually like, so again, this was a learning curve. And Rob, who had put the deck together, was like, well, you might as well use this effect because if it goes to the graveyard, it doesn't matter, you're good to go. I was like, yeah, I was just planning to just chain block everything. He's like, no, just use the effect. Like, he's already going to negate it, and if he doesn't negate it, you put an extender in the graveyard that you can link into anyway. So he rules it, negates it, gets rid of that one. And again, this is a prime example of my opponent not knowing what the new cards do. And this is where I want to call it Blue Slug, but I know it's not Blue Slug because that's the Link monster. So I'm just going to quickly try and find it. But this card's pretty nuts. Like, it lets you banish a Marincess from the graveyard and then special summon itself down. So it's called Springale, sorry. So you banish a Marincess monster from the graveyard to special summon this card from the hand. If it is sent to the graveyard as material for a Link summon of a water monster, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Marincess monsters you control. Then if a Marincess card or cards was sent to the graveyard by this effect, inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each Marincess card sent. Now, it's rare that you're actually going to resolve that effect, and I actually don't even use that effect. But we go into this one, we get to search out the dive. We've also got so we activate the dive to bring back the Springale. And we got a really good mill, actually. We milled the level 1, which comes back to a zone if you control two Marincess. So we're pretty much trying to link climb, Cyverse Wizard, not Cyverse Wizard, Jesus. Splash Mage, getting them all over the place now. All the Cyverse are just merging together. Bring back the Springale, go into Coral Anime. The reason you go this long route is to put that Splash Mage into the graveyard so that you can then bring it back to give you access to a Link 4. It's a quicker route, but it's not a route that makes the card unaffected. We're now going to a Link 4. Now, again, because we're being aggressive, I kind of like the idea of going into the battle phase Link 4. But I go into Bubble Reef because I know that I kind of want Bubble Reef in the graveyard so that I can bring that back. So we use Bubble Reef's effect because Blue Tang is banished, and we haven't used Blue Tang's graveyard effect, which is really important. So we send a water monster to then special summon one of the banished, which will be Blue Tang, which is really important. I put it into the center zone. These zones are a little bit close to core. We probably should have put a field center in play, but that was silly of both of us. Then this is where the Toads kind of came into play. So banish Duke Frog, summon out Ronin Toadin. This was just to get another water to the board. It wasn't really to do much more. The only issue is Triangle, like I said at the start, is the only one that is locked specifically to requiring Marincess. The others are just like, yeah, just use waters, bro. It's like, well, I wish the Triangle was. I get it. It's great to search out. It's great to search out the trap because the trap's like an imperm that protects all of your stuff as well. But yeah, it's kind of a bit of give and take. So we're just going over like the links. So we go into Blue Slug. Blue Slug's effect can then let me add one back from the graveyard. And basically the play behind this is just trying to loop my materials. So we bring back the Springale. Obviously, she's already used her effect. We're going to use the Blue Tang to mill free. We search a Blue Tang, and I confirm that you can actually add Blue Tang herself. So which is pretty nutty. Now, again, we're just working our links up. There's no real reason to go anywhere else, which is basically what these do. So now I've got two Link monsters. I've got a spare zone open. I get to special summon that back, and that gives me instant access to Marble Rock, which is, again, is really important because she can discard a card and then add back. And then during the battle phase, she can also protect any monster as well. I thought it was just water monsters, but she can protect, not water monsters, sorry, Marincess monsters, but she can add any card back. So we add back the dive, which sets us up for the next turn because most of my graveyard is just extra dead monsters. It's a little bit tricky without the field spell because you can't really get as far as you might want to, especially by trying to equip everything, boost its attack, and you're kind of limited. But there's still a lot you can do without the field spell. So we go to battle phase. The first thing that I attack, he's going to Balinks anyway. So it's just kind of contemplating exactly what he's left. I've got the wave in the hand, which is fine. So we attack with Bubble Reef. He Balinks protects it. And then we're going to attack with Marble Rock to get rid of the Sunlight Wolf as well. So that pretty much clears that out. I suppose like the issue I kind of saw was if I just put the Jag in the grave, he's just going to keep looping it. This time I learnt my lesson from game one and I set the trap. But then Rob reminded me, he's like, yo, bro, you control two you control 2 Link 3 or highers anyway, like even if he Kaiju's one of them, which is exactly what he does, and he opens up with another Kaiju as well, again, I can still deal with it. Now, he didn't really learn his lesson from the first one, because he does try and go access play, but he does try and bait out more cards. My hand isn't great. I think I've got another Sign at Mining. It's good for the follow-up, like just surviving this turn. And this is where I learned that Marble Rock protects all monsters, not just Marincess. But again, we'll get to that in a minute. So, Silent Mining into Foxy, normal summon the Foxy. I'm not too sure. I can't remember if he uses the effect or not, and what I do to respond to that. Oh no, it doesn't look like he's going to use any effect. Maybe he's going to try and spin it back. But yeah, he tries to go to the same route of play again, and I'm not having any of it. To be fair, he doesn't know that I've got the wave, but then he could have probably assumed that I had it as well, considering that I didn't go into the rock, and when I did, I dealt with it. So now my Marincess are unaffected by card effects as well. So he couldn't access code banish to pop even if he wanted to. But I've negated it. It loses its attack, so the only thing it can do is hit over the Kaiju for 100. And then, like I said, this is where I learned my lesson, that I could have discarded the water to keep the Kaiju alive. Obviously, if he opened up all 3 Kaijus, then by killing the Kaiju on my side of the field, he could then Kaiju my Marble Rock, which would suck, but is what it is. Like I said, both of these decks are pretty direct in what they're trying to do. Obviously his opening hand for Salads wasn't that great, considering he had Spinny. He probably should have gone more Salad control route rather than trying to go access code for game. But like I said, he didn't know that I had that trap, so it was the risk he was willing to take to push for game. It's a very simple route, the update into access code and stuff like that, but keeping it as easy as we can. The best, or the one thing you need to keep in mind with the Marincess is you need to keep an eye on your resources. All the different card effects will trigger engrave. There's loads of different card effects that are like, well, except the turn this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish it, or you can add it back, or you can do this and that. So you've got to be aware of all of those as well. At the moment, I think I've got like 4 or so Link monsters in the graveyard. It's absolutely mad. So I do need to get to the field spell. I've got Dive. I've got Blue Tang. I pretty much got everything I need to do. So Blue Tang will Foolish Burial. And I put the Seahorse in the grave. Again, when you add the Seahorse back, it's just free summon. It's just free fodders, which is really, really good. So Blue Tang into the Link 1 of Ball Slug. I let him cut, and then I excavate the top 3. So once that happens, we're going to add back the Seahorse. The top 3 is pretty much broken. There's like Dive. And the annoying thing, I'd already conducted my normal summon, but the best thing about that level 4 is it's on normal or special. You get to special summon a Marincess from the hand. So, hello, Toad Root. Let's go. Not that I need to, but I think currently I'm on 2 summons. Yeah, I'm on 2 summons at the moment. So whether you want to try and take Nibiru into account. So keeping in mind this is game 2, I wouldn't be surprised if he did side in a Nibiru. So it's now the point of, can I get to a monster that is either A, unaffected, or B, can I get into Toad? So we're going to special summon down the Seahorse, which is summon number 3. We go into the Angel to get the field spell, which is summon number 4. And then the next thing I do is going to be summon number 5. So it's in the Nibiru territory. Dive, because I control the field spell, lets me special summon from the deck, which lets me special summon the level 4 that lets me special summon a level 4 from the hand. So again, well within range of Nibiru territory. So it does get a little bit scary. But then it's like, this is the part of the last resort. And don't worry about the Spring Gale. I'm going to get to add her back to the hand anyway. So you Shark detach to get your Toad. I suppose this is just to protect. It kind of puts your opponent under that pressure lock of, you need to Nibiru me now or I'm going to make Toad. Obviously, at this point, I know he doesn't have Nibiru, so it's all about just trying to clear space off in order to get the strength. Now, my monsters are strong enough to deal with the access code, keeping in mind that Bahamut Shark can't attack this turn because I summoned Toad. I could have attacked and then try and rebuild the next turn, but I kind of mess up on this bit as well because the field spell only triggers when it summons to the extra monster zone, so everything I'm about to do, just ignore it. My hand is pretty stacked. But what I should have done, and I do rectify it in a minute. Again, this is just a learning curve. So, and there's still a lot about this deck that I really want to learn and figure out. So we do rectify it in a minute. Do not worry. Yeah, there you go. There's the rectification. And again, thankfully, my opponent lets me shift that around. So rather than using the Bahamut shot, I use the Coral Reef and I use the Blue Slug. Completely fixes it, so it's a very easy fix. Again, lesson learned, like if I do that in a tournament, there's no go backsies or anything like that, I would have messed myself up. But what makes this really nice is, again, I've got I love the Link 4 into the Bubble Reef is really, really cool. So summon out the Splash Mage or summon back the Splash Mage for the Coral. Splash Mage's effect isn't negated, funnily enough. So I get to bring back another level 4 and you're like, yay, I've got loads to go with. Keeping in mind as well, during the battle phase, I get to bring back or summon out the Bubble Reef. It's just about getting a bit more power on the board. Now, I'm pretty sure at this point I'm locked into Waters. So we're just going to go for the other Link 4. I was like, at this point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get all 3 of the Link 4s on the board just for a little bit of a mini flex. Not that they can all do anything. They do get a nice little buff from the field spell. And the one in the extra monster zone is going to be buffed by about 2k, but it's going to go down to 1400 in a minute when I summon out the Bubble Reef. We are going to special summon down the Springale, and then we're going to use its effect to spin back, or the new one to spin back the Springale, spring back the access code, battle phase, attack, attack, attack. So I don't even need to summon out the Bubble Reef. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this duel. Apologies for... again, it's all real new to me. It's trying to learn the cards and learn the duel. It was really fun. It was nice to give it a casual test run out so you can learn the ins and outs. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe and happy dueling.